Hello, my name is Lyapa Mbewe and welcome to yet another exciting episode of the My Wealth Podcast. Remember, My Wealth Podcast is brought to you by PremierCredit Zambia. If you want to look at anything related to peer-to-peer lending or you are looking at getting a loan of some sort, you can always look them up and some exciting partnerships that they've embarked on in the past couple of months. But here we discuss all things investments, current economic trends, personal and business finances, and also we host exemplary guests. And today, at a no-shoker, we have an exemplary human being, and you'll get to know him a little bit more and what he's been known for. We have Yangeni Chendela. He doesn't need an introduction. He is country head human capital at Oryx Energies Zambia. Yangeni, welcome to My Wealth Podcast.
Thank you so much, Lyapa, and I'm excited to be here.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. So I know you and I talk a lot. You're a good friend.
Yeah.
Yes, away from business and everything. So I'm very excited to have you here and just have like a sit down and chat over some of the items that you're passionate about.
Yeah. And I think this is, I would be honest, this is strange, me sitting very calm.
Yes. You're not the most calm person.
Yeah, because most of the places we've met is where I'll be standing and I'll be expressing myself.
Yes.
So it's exciting that I'm joining you today just to share a few insights around my profession and how we can help other people out there to cement their professions.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. Who is Yangeni? I know it's a very vast question, but then we can narrow it down to your expertise as an HR, as an author. You have written one of the most beautiful books I've personally read, and not because you're a friend, but because it's just brilliant.
Okay.
And you being a strategist and everything that you're currently doing.
Okay, for the purpose of this conversation, I think I'll stick my introduction to the HR field. Yangeni is a human resource generalist. I'll put it as generalist in the sense that my focus hasn't been on one area. I try to look at human resource in totality. From time immemorial, I think you know that most human resource practitioners were known to be the back office or the support team.
Yes.
But with the HR that we've been trying to promote is we are business partners, and that is where I'm coming from.
Okay.
So coming from an industry where people believed you to be a support function, now we're changing the narrative to be business partners. I think it's not an easy conversation.
Okay.
So I'm one of those individuals that are trying to drive this HR being a business partner so that when we sit on the table, not only are we claiming for the seat, but the seat is already there.
Nice.
Yes.
I've never looked at it from that perspective. So you as, I'll then refer you to a business partner of the business or the corporations that you are currently serving. Do you feel, since we're talking about personal finance or your members of staff, if we narrow down to them, do you feel the conversation of personal finance management and investing for the long haul is a conversation that is being discussed in the workplace?
I will say yes, and at the same time no, because if you look at most institutions, I think 5 years ago issues to do with finances was not even being spoken about.
Yes.
It's now that we've seen the likes of Lyapa, the likes of other individuals that are on the market that are really helping and preaching this issue of financial literacy. So if you look at, if I have to be honest, for the last 13 years that I've worked, my previous employers provided platforms where these conversations are being spoken.
Yes.
I would say out of the 4 employers, maybe one provided this platform. So I would assume that the other 3 were not providing that kind of information. So it could be the case in many institutions that employers are not taking time to invest in this area, which is very, very important, looking at how it connects with all spheres of a human life. If you have a poor financial background, in as much as you can get this huge salary, but if you do not fix the leakages where this money is going to, then it's as good as you're not getting that income.
Okay.
So I would say employers could do better
Yes.
investing in this area. And those that are yet still wondering if this is an area that they should invest in,
Yeah.
please, this is an area that doesn't need introduction.
Okay. Do you feel employees, and because you're an HR expert, I would want whoever it is that's watching from an HR perspective, do you feel HR or HR departments rather in these organizations making it clear of how employees can access their benefits, a clear understanding on items like NAPSA that we've seen now with the 20% withdrawals? Are they doing a better job to explaining these things to their employees? Yeah.
Okay.
And even private pensions.
Pension. Okay, I'll tell you something. What I've noticed is that sometimes the labor laws we have in the country are a bit of a catch-22, I should put it, in the sense that there's a section that does not compel me to define how you should spend your money. Okay? The law clearly guides to say the employer is not supposed to guide an employee on how they should spend their money. If today we gave you, let's say, 50,000 as your salary,
Yes.
whether you go and burn it, you put it somewhere, the employer is not mandated to guide you on how you should spend it. So some employers have taken that law to the court to say, no, me, provided I've given you the money,
Yes.
how you spend it, where you live, it's up to you. But I think we've seen that most employers who have taken it literally like that, I think they have a crop of employees who are not motivated.
Yes.
You should care on how I spend my money. I think we should create an environment where certain things are being spoken about. In as much as we believe that all employees are adults,
Yes.
but sometimes some individuals' exposure to certain information was limited to them. Hence, it demands that we people in human resource or we people in management, we're supposed to have these conversations so that maybe it will just be that one conversation which can help your employee to go
Yes.
invest wisely. So I would like to encourage those employers that are believing to say they are not mandated to guide, yes, on how an individual should spend the money, but it is within their individual powers that they should provide some guidance on investment vehicles which are on the market, or just some anything that would help an employee spend the money wisely. Yeah.
Okay. You did make mention that with your previous employer, you did introduce some programs in relation to financial wellness. Do you feel there's more that can be done in that spec? It might be in your institution if they're open-minded,
Yeah.
or in just other institutions. What would you tell another HR expert or just management in general?
Okay, so what we have to address here, basically, maybe what I haven't even spoken about, it's first our culture around saving and growing finances.
Yes.
Most of us just believe that it is impossible to become rich. I think that notion has to die out.
Yes.
And we always believe that it should be a certain human being with a certain color, skin of color, that they should make money. Maybe we always say the Asians or the
1% of the world.
Yes, exactly. So the conversation that maybe from inception we should have when we're having orientation, when somebody's just coming in, you should tell them
Yes.
there is life after this employer. I think one of the supervisors I worked with, I can't lie, it's Zambia, I would say, was my group head. He told me that there's life after Zambia.
Oh wow.
And that for me has really helped me. Most of us, when we start work, even when we are asked to say, how long will you be here?
Yes.
We tend to say, I'll be here forever. Even deep down in your heart, you know that no.
At some point.
At some point, I'll leave.
Yes.
So my supervisor told me there's life after Zambia. So that word kept ringing on my mind. So in the process, I made sure that whatever I was earning, and I would tell you that I would share with somebody to say my first salary was a 2,000 kwacha.
Oh wow.
But in that 2000, this was in 2010, I told my family that I was only getting 1,000. I don't know why, but I just told them I was getting, and because I told them, I set my expectation to them.
Yes.
Actually, they helped me with a car. They said, no, knowing that you're just starting, you can use this. There was this finished car that we had, So they helped me with that. And my elder brother, time and again, would come and check up on me to say, do you have enough? In the process, I think I started building my muscle. To the contrary, I've seen colleagues now who start getting paid maybe 6,000 or 10,000 even, but they'll tell their friends that they're getting paid 20,000.
Oh, wow.
And like me, who started with a 2,000 and told my family that I get a 1,000, they were able to excuse me from certain contribution.
Yes.
But what we have in today's world is, if somebody is given 5,000 as their starting salary, they will tell their colleagues that they're getting paid.
Such a thing happens.
It does happen. Actually, research has it that men, almost all, about 50% of men in this world, they inflate their salaries to their colleagues.
Oh, shame.
That's true. So now, here is you who's getting paid at 10,000, and you've told your colleagues you get 20,000.
Yes.
So you're automatically creating a financial burden on yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, actually, I'm happy that I'm addressing this.
Yes.
I would be saying those who are just about to get their offer letters, we've seen ZNS as employed, ZAF as employed, whoever is about to be medical doctors, please don't tell people what you're not getting.
Yes.
Moreover, you're not even mandated to tell anybody what you're getting. But if you are found in a position where you'll be asked, please undervalue it by even 50%. That way, it creates some gap where people are saying, I was seeing Chabia, smartphone and drama, but it's helping you to build some muscle.
I read something earlier today. Oh my God. It's very disheartening, but it just for a light moment saying if you earn anything less than, I think they capped it at 7,000 kwacha, it's a salary. Anything other than that, they're just saying thank you for coming.
No, we need to audit the poster of that.
People are so cruel. But I hear you. I think it's just coming back to reality.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you earn.
Yeah.
We see this, and I always make reference to this. We see this with our helpers in our homes.
Do it.
Someone earns 1,000 kwacha, 800 kwacha, and they're doing great exponential things with that source of income. So they've just understood, like you said, it is your own mandate as an individual to be wealthy.
Yeah.
Of course, there's so much your employer can do, but then you need to personalize it to a certain extent and say, I want a certain lifestyle for myself. You'll find helpers in homes that are
minimum
building
wage of 1,000.
and they're building, of course, a house to their standard, maybe not to your standard, but they have an asset that they can look at. So it's just now coming back to reality and say, how does my reality look like? The inflating. I've never looked at it from that point of view.
Outside people are inflating figures.
Okay, so let's come down to a real life situation.
Yeah.
Do you have a time where you helped an employee, maybe as an institution or even just a conversation, or someone that was going through a financial distress or financial difficulty?
Okay, so I'm putting a disclaimer for everybody who will be watching this, is that due to the nature of the job that I do, almost every day I'm meeting somebody that needs some financial guidance, that needs some financial help. The bank have a mandate. Before they give you a loan, they are supposed to speak to you. Unfortunately, few people have been doing this conversation.
Yes.
I had an encounter, not even an employee. This is my brother. I'm able to talk about him. He went to some financial institution and they wanted money. The project that he wanted, I think you will find that story even in my book. He wanted to be doing some retail selling, but getting from the wholesalers.
Yes.
So now, the percentage that he was supposed to sell, it was about 27.5%. After he gets his product, he was supposed to sell it about 25.7%. But now when he came to me, because I was supposed to be a guarantor to, these money things.
Yes.
So when I was reading through the papers, I noticed that the percentage of the interest from the financial institution was around 35.5.
Wow.
So now I called him. I said, you are telling me that the profit you'll be making is 27.5. And where you're getting the loan, they're charging you 35 points. Can't you see that you're already losing? Even before you contract this loan,
Yes.
you're already in a loss. And this gentleman didn't see that. Because remember when we are in need,
Yes.
sometimes we tend to
You're very pensive. You just
want
want
to get things done, not realizing. And for me, this is not the only person that I've helped in that conversation. Even some employees, they will come to you. No, this bank wants to give me this mortgage or this amount. But you're asking them, have you looked at the duration?
Yes.
Okay. So these are ongoing conversations. And even as I speak, unless I was able to pick on my brother, he can't take me anywhere. But there are a lot of people that who have come to me, they're in my office, you're saying they're applying for a certain facility. When you calculate, you realize, you say, no. The percentage which they'll be paying back is so high that whether they did any type of business, they'll never be able to be successful. In my other life, I have the business. Somebody came to me not long ago because my interest rates for that business are quite reasonable. I'll charge you 15%. Okay. And this guy comes and tells me, no. Your interest is so low. I'm willing to pay you 40%. Then I'm looking at myself to say, you want to give me 40%. What type of business will you do such that my 40% will be guaranteed?
every month.
So when I look at that, then I call him and say, no, my friend, do not overpromise, because this is what, when you are desperate, you end up overpromising and fail to deliver. So for me, there's a conversation that I'm having almost every day. Even as a young person who just comes and say, I want to get a loan to start this business. You ask them, how long will this business take to mature before you start making a profit? Because they remember the lenders, they expect the money after 30 days. They'll be waiting for that money. So these are ongoing conversations that I almost have every day with individuals.
Okay. Yeah, that's very refreshing. It's very refreshing that you actually have like an HR personnel in the building that can actually tell you what's on the ground, because almost everyone is just signing off a document.
But unfortunately, I'll be very honest, very few people are ready to listen. Because sometimes when you're really in need, whether somebody tells you that after 1 year this will knock you down, you will never appreciate it. Some people, unfortunately, they want to learn through experiencing. I'll give you for a fact, as an HR, something happened a year or two ago. There's an individual came to my office and said, sir, I'm planning of leaving, starting my career in a different institution. I said, okay, please, before you leave, would you just avail me the name of the organization? My experience, I have a lot of friends in these sectors. I'll be able to guide you. And he was quick to share the institution he was going to. When I looked at that institution, I knew a friend of mine from this institution, and they were telling me that their company was downsizing because they're about to close. So now I'm looking at this guy is going to this company and I'm aware. So I told him, be careful. This company may be closing. They are just looking for people who can help them during this process. I was so certain that no, they can't close. Okay? 6 months down the line, this company closed down. And this guy now called me, sir, you are right. I need a job back. Sometimes when an elder tells you, yes, I know I may not have the gray hair, but if you come, I tell you, when an expert tells you, be careful, they know. But unfortunately, we always have those employees that if you tell them, don't resign, give it a 2 year or 3 year, they just think it's the right time to leave.
Yeah, they think your bias is to
the company.
Because
you want to keep them. But sometimes it's because you are privy to certain information around the industry which they may not have.
Gosh, that's a food for thought.
Yeah.
That's
so please, if you are listening, your HR tells you, go and consider this resignation. If I were you, I'll go and consider.
I'll do it.
Stu got his annual bonus and decided to invest it in a side hustle. He took his hard-earned cash and started giving out loans to people he knew and thought he could trust on his own. Weeks later, it was time for people to pay Stu back, but nobody paid him back and Stu lost all his money. Steve, Stu's workmate, also got his bonus and also decided to invest it. But he knew from before that he needed help doing so. Steve heard about PremierCredit's peer-to-peer lending platform, how he could invest in pre-qualified loan applications from people that have proven they could pay back. with interest. Weeks later, Steve still has his bonus and is now enjoying the interest payouts. You can invest smart like Steve too. So, be a Steve and not a Stu. Visit PremierCredit.co.zm and start investing today. Investments start from as low as 500 kwacha. Terms and conditions apply.
So Yangeni, I know you and I have probably had this conversation before, and you are very passionate about delayed gratification. I just want us to marry it with lifestyle inflation, like for maybe some of us that are listening or watching this that might not know what lifestyle inflation. It's a matchup of the more money you earn, the higher the expenses. Yes. For instance, if you are earning 5,000, your expense bracket was around maybe 3,000 kwacha, but now that you're earning 10,000, that automatically then climbs to 8,000 to meet the adjustment. Yes. Yeah. So a lot of people, and unfortunately, is that sounds correct. Okay, like why would you deem that as a problem? But I want to hear it from your perspective. How can we curb lifestyle inflation?
Lifestyle. Okay. Yes. I would like to give myself as an example, but I'll leave it because people will be saying Yangeni likes to give himself as an example.
Yes.
I've seen it with employees. Annually, there are inflation adjustments which happen. As soon as you adjust for somebody, you've already planned to change a neighborhood. I think the temptation to always match up your income with your cost is always there.
Yes.
But for me, I've always believed that for you to grow your wealthy, for you to grow your income, really, you need to ensure that your cost remains static for a while.
Yes.
Somebody would tell me, and which I've spoken about in my book, to say, certain costs, we cannot avoid them.
Of course.
Yes, they'll always be there. But for me, what I don't like is individuals that as soon as they have an extra income, for instance, here you didn't plan that you give me a 10,000. Here is the upper justice, Yangeni, get this 10,000. Automatically, I've found where to spend it.
Yes.
This is a challenge that we have. You can receive as many salary adjustments as you can, but if every time you receive these adjustments and your cost also increases, you will never ever be in a position where you have excess. So my advice to individuals, especially those that are just starting their career, is do not have the temptation to change your neighborhood as soon as you start earning income.
But then they must know, Yangeni.
No, believe me.
If I was driving a small car,
then you
I want to go for VAF, vehicle asset financing, and I want a big car.
I didn't want to give you this as an example.
Yes.
I was able to buy my wife a Vitz, okay? That is maybe 8 years ago.
Yes.
I used my own income without a loan, but that is what I could afford. But my income then could have allowed me to go to the bank and get a bigger car, okay? Not until now that I told her, what I've believed in myself is that if you delay yourself to be happy then, you'll be more happier in future. So equally, there's no harm to live in a neighborhood where you can afford. Contrary to when it's month end, you have to call somebody, say, oh, Mwana, top me up. Oh, Mwana, just 2 days. Then know that there's a problem.
That you can't afford. You genuinely and sincerely can't afford.
You cannot afford. I have no problem if you're living in a neighborhood where you can afford. Well and good. But if every time month end comes in, you cannot remain with a single coin, then there's a problem. I always say, this I'm saying it with some humor. Say, if today is supposed to be your payday and you've already checked 4 times if your employer has put money, then there's a problem. You should reach a point when, okay, that is your money, it's coming, but don't always check how much can get.
And then for you as HR, people even calling. Speak to finance, what's going on?
So for me is that, yes, we can create wealthy, but it requires that we audit our lifestyle.
Yes.
I agree. Certain incomes, there's very little maneuvering that you can do, but I always believe, like the example that I gave, most of the problems that we have is we have inflated our lifestyle.
Yes.
Every time you want to spend more than you can manage. If you can't manage, I've often said, then increase your sources of income.
Yes.
But again, people will tell you, how can I increase my source of income? My work demands my 8 hours, my family demands for this. I don't know if I have an answer for that one.
No, but I do have an answer. There's what we call passive investing and passive investment vehicles that do not require your time.
Absolutely.
Yes. When you look at different investment vehicles that are there on the market, you'll find that one, you can start building a lump sum by putting aside minimal contributions on a month by month basis. And you remember, the bigger the pool, the bigger the monetary sense it makes when your interest starts coming in and whatnot. So there really isn't an excuse now. Zambia has some of the best interest.
I think what I've noticed on that, Lyapa, is that, not cutting you short, is I think most of us are not patient enough.
Of course, yes.
We always believe, I've seen it with young people, they just start work. The same month, they think they can be a manager. Jokingly, I tell people that if today I was recruiting for, I say it, I say I need an assistant manager, and somebody direct from school that say I can do it. Then I'm saying, I don't want to disrespect your qualification.
Yes.
It takes almost 6-7 years to make it to managerial level. So if you today, I for one, I felt the same.
Yes.
When I just started work, I felt, no, they're delaying me. I needed to be a supervisor. I needed to be a senior. Not until I've gone through the process to say you can be given the position, but if you don't
have the capacity,
you'll be unable to do it.
Yeah.
I've told people that growing your finances is just like growing into your role. You know, plants, in as much as you would want to have your plant grow in one day, you can pour the entire bag of fertilizer on it, but it will never grow. So equally with your finances, this is a journey, and it starts the very day that you enter into the corporate world.
Nice. Yangeni, I want us to summarize this conversation by narrowing down. You do have a portion in your book, Become Unstoppable, that you talk about finances. Can you give me, in 30 seconds, what, because your pages in your book on each, and I'll tell you this, each and every lesson in Yangeni's book is only 2 pages long, so it's a very easy read.
We call it's a page turner.
It's a page turner, I promise you, yes. So what is maybe 2 points?
2 points from here.
From the finance section of your book.
You can't believe it that when I was driving to the office, usually what I've been doing, I know my wife is listening. If I'm the one who's driving, I make her to be reading for me.
Oh wow!
If she's the one who's driving, I'll be reading. So today there's something that I just bumped into this book.
Yes.
Because this is my book, but I take time to read it.
Yes.
And because I knew I was talking about employees and how we can help them, there's lesson number 23. I said, plan your career. Do not place your growth in the hands of another person. Okay. So if I've got an employee who's just starting their work today, please plan your career. How do you want your 3 years, your 4 years, your 5 years to be? As you plan your career, you equally plan your income and your resources. Most of the people, when they start work, they abandon their growth in the hands of the employer. It changes them where they believe to say, now the employer has to send them to programs. Now the employer has to do all these things. But today I'm saying, please, remember that the employer will have 150 employees to look after, but you have yourself. You're the only person, Lyapa, who has the best interest for yourself. Listen to what I wrote here. Everyone has the power to create and control their luck. Okay? You have the power to control your results, and you have the power to control your future potential. But the sad reality is that the challenge is that most people have long gone foolishly given this personal power away to other individuals. Okay? And you start waiting to say, my employer will send me to school, my employer will do that. That affects your growth. But at the same time, because it's affecting your corporate growth, it's also affecting your income. Individuals who invest in themselves are marketable, and these individuals can be paid any amount.
Yes.
That you should
becoming an asset.
Becoming an asset, you have to invest in yourself, and the employers are willing to pay any amount to any individual who has the value. Somebody will be arguing and telling me, no, Yangeni, these are just motivation and other things. No,
it's very realistic. We have seen it, like even just at the office, we do see different types of clients in different tax brackets and whatnot. they went to the same schools as different other
different
people.
others.
Others went to UNZA. They have degrees from the same universities around, but you find that this person is in a higher tax bracket and they are relatively young. How did they do
How
it?
did they do it?
They found a way of ensuring that their 8 hours, the same 8 hours that I have and the same 8 hours you go for, has a higher value than yours, and that's why I'm getting paid more. So each hour of my day is more expensive than yours. Why? Because I found a way of adjusting my value upwards, and I think it's
doable.
It's very doable. You can go from earning 10,000 kwacha to earning 10,000 US dollars in a blink of an eye if you find a way, like you said, plan out your career. That's very powerful.
I tell people when they ask me, this I've been putting it. I think we have had this conversation. When will you retire? I think it's a conversation we should have another day.
Yes.
You taught me something. I should remind you. You said retirement is not about the age, but it's about your financial. It's a number.
You hit your retirement number, you're
then
good to
you can
go.
retire. So if today my retirement number has been $1 million, I walk out of this building, I sign a deal.
Yes.
My retirement has come.
Yes. But then you never know when to retire had you not known what your retirement number is.
So in conclusion, I would like to encourage individuals, please put some numbers, okay? What is that number that you feel when you hit this number, then you can be able to afford certain things. Unfortunately, these are conversations which people do not have, and they're just reporting for work. They don't know when they'll retire. They don't know when they'll stop doing it.
Yes.
Guys, we have to find a way. I know it's not easy, but there is a way that we can put the numbers together and be able to work towards those numbers.
Okay, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Put a number to it, and my key takeaway was plan your career. So this has been Yangeni. Yangeni, thank you so much for joining us and having this conversation. It's always pleasant, and you speak from the heart, and I love that about you. So thank you for coming on the My World podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to talk about retirement.
Yes.
I think it's a topic that few people are addressing,
Yes.
but I feel we need to start it as soon as possible. Because
Yes.
I've seen the millennials and the Generation Z. I don't think so. They are going up to 50, 55. If I ask
in terms of retirement,
yes, most of the
everyone
people
wants to retire 35, 40 years.
Yeah.
But how possible is that, and how do we make that happen?
Let that happen.
Yes,
the time is now to
Yes.
start planning for that.
Thank you so much. And please find Become Unstoppable by Yangeni Chendela, and you can learn valuable lessons from there on how to grow your career, on just how to just establish yourself as a valuable asset even in the different industries, and also about finances. There's so much you can find from there. So this is Lyapa Mbewe. Thank you so much for joining us on this particular episode. Remember, it's brought to you by PremierCredit, and you can find the podcast also on different podcast platforms and also on YouTube right here where you're watching us from. Follow PremierCredit online so that you can also catch even the video versions of our podcast. Thank you so much once again. Until next time, I'll see you then.